Hello and welcome to Dawn Chorus Writes, a Miraculous Ladybug fanfiction. This is a special one-shot to say a massive thank you for 100 subscribers. It means the world to me, really it does, and the more people subscribing is just amazing. So I wanted to do a special one-shot. It's a Marichat called Tell Me You Don't Love Me. So make sure you smash that like button, subscribe, and maybe for 200 I'll do another special. And I hope you enjoy. Tell Me You Don't Love Me. Chat and Marinettes POV. Every time I watch that film, I cry, like a messy, ugly cry. Marinette grabbed yet another tissue from the box, wiping away the flood of tears. I sometimes think that you picked the notebook just to make me cry. She lay her head back on his chest and used the tissue to wipe the tear stains from his suit. He watched her slowly run the tips of her fingers across the leather, lost in thought. You always look beautiful to me. He ran his hand through her loose, tousled hair as she curved her neck, reacting to his touch. I picked that film, Princess, because of the beautiful love story. A love story that we could have. The words caused Marinette to arch her back and slide her arm out. Kitty, you know how I feel about you. She turned her gaze away from his searching stare. No, I don't. Not really. He tried to hold her hand, entwine his fingers between hers, but she pulled it away along with the rest of her body, leaving a coldness when there had been warmth. Please. We have these magical nights where we hang out and watch films together, but it can't be anything more. Marinette climbed out of their fort, which he liked to call his princess castle, and stood by the circular window staring out into the night sky. Chat followed her out and stood behind Marinette in the dark room, lit only by a string of fairy lights around the fort. Reaching up, he stroked his fingers down the back of her neck, a gesture he had done for a while now. Why not? He said softly, exposing the pain he was feeling. You know why. She turned round to face him with fresh tears on her cheeks that weren't from the film. You love someone else? The fear of her reply was etched into every word. No, that's not. It's because of the mask. I can't be in a relationship with someone when I don't know who they are. She moved away from his touch, his hand left in mid-air with nothing to reach out to. You know who I am, more than anyone else. This is who I am, and it's because of that I love you. I get that. This is me. Not the mess at school when I'm around certain people. Neither when I'm... She paused and placed a hand over her mouth. What was she hiding? Then what's the issue? Who are you? What's your name? Where do you live? How old are you? None of that you can tell me whilst you constantly wear the suit. Her frustration was building to the point of anger and climbed the steps to the mezzanine. Then I'll show you. I'll take it off. He had said it so clearly and abruptly that it knocked the wind out of her. Her eyes widened at the thought and looked down at him. You would reveal yourself to me? Don't be foolish, Kitty. You can't do that. Why would you? Because I love you. Under any other circumstances, this would have been a romantic Juliet and a Romeo moment as he declared his love to the balcony, he thought to himself, and let out a long sigh. What about Ladybug? She moved to open her window and climbed out. In 2 moves, he was up and out of the window, gazing at her, leaning over her railing. Oh, how much he wanted to wrap her up in his arms to feel the warmth again. I love Ladybug, but it's different now. I know that we're just gonna be partners. I fell in love. Marinette spun round. Am I second choice? No, of course not. Why would you say that? Is that what she believed? Is that why she was holding back? Unable to lock onto his eyes, she turned back round, staring at the streetlights below. How can you love Ladybug so intensely for years, to then say you love me after having movie nights? Her voice was low and distant. She didn't believe him. How could she, not knowing that he was Adrian and that his love for her had grown over time as Chat and Adrian? But if he showed her, then she would believe him. I don't just know you from my visits. She turned around and looked at him, stunned. Chat, what are you doing? I can't, no. Why do things have to change? She pleaded. Because I love you and I want to take you out on a proper date, out of this bedroom and be surrounded by candlelight. And for that, you would jeopardize your identity? She sounded different from Marinette's usual tone and reminded him of someone else. He took a step closer, cupping her face in his hand, and stared into her eyes. I am only telling you. I trust you. There was something different about her and how she was reacting to him. What about Ladybug? She sounded lost and confused, torn between knowing or walking away. Marinette, look at me. She struggled to hold his gaze. He wrapped one arm around her waist, feeling her body respond to his touch, and relaxed as he brushed away the hair from her eyes. Tell me you don't love me. Tell me, and I'll walk away. Her ocean eyes locked onto his, and he watched the anger, frustration give way to a softer side. His Marinette was returning to him once more. And if I don't? If I tell you Her voice veered off, fearful of what would happen if she spoke the words. With his arms wrapped round her, he squeezed her a little tighter against him, closing the gap, so that he was leaning over her slightly, his lips floating above her. Then I would kiss you. He grinned at the wave of blush forming on her cheeks, but she didn't move nor resist his advances. In fact, he could swear she edged even closer. He watched the argument that was happening inside her mind forming on her face. What was so important that it was standing in the way of them being together? The realization was slow at first. The similarities between them, the stare, the tone of her voice, the look in her eyes. Was that why she didn't want to tell him? If she is Ladybug, then does she love him after all? He was believing Marinette was falling in love with him, but Ladybug always refused him, saying that she loved another. No, it can't be. Marinette can't be Ladybug, can she? Tell me you don't love me, he whispered into her ear. She closed her eyes and moved closer so that her lips were almost touching his. I can't. I do. I love you. His lips brushed against hers, light at first, tasting the salt from the tears, and then she kissed him back. He could feel the love and passion she had for him. His heart exploded into a firework. He could spend the rest of his life loving and kissing this lady in his arms. Then the thought reappeared in his head. What if she is Ladybug? What would that mean? Should he ask her? This seemed like the moment they would tell the truth and hold nothing back. He pulled away first, It broke his heart to do so, as he felt her wanted to remain in that perfect moment. You are my princess, but are you also my lady? He breathed. Her closed eyes popped open, staring at him in fear. What makes you say such things? That wasn't a no. Is that why you are holding back? That you say you don't want this, but I know you do. Kitty, we can't. Are you Ladybug? Tell me the truth. She slid out of his hold and turned her back on him. This would change everything. Are you ready for that? I would no longer be your princess who you visit for movie nights. No, you'll always be my princess. But you would also become my lady, and we can be together. He said softly behind her, and could hear her sniffles while holding back the tears. I'm ready, more than ready. I love you, with or without the mask on, Marinette. I have loved you as Chat and as... Taking him by surprise, she spun round and placed a finger on his lips while gazing up at him. He was going to do it. Now was the right time, he knew it. She closed her eyes. Adrien, your best friend, your love, your kitty. This is who I am. Her eyes fluttered open, slowly contemplating what it all means. Adrien? Really? That's really you? He glanced across the still city of Paris. There was no one watching from the windows or the empty streets below. Claws in. He heard her take a deep breath as the green light revealed a 17-year-old boy in front of her. The same one that she'd known now for the past 4 years as a friend. Adrien. Oh, it really is you. She reached her hand out and stroked his face where there used to be a mask. And you... I love you, Marinette. He placed his hand over hers and leaned into it. I have loved you for a while, but I didn't know how to show it as Adrien when I thought you only lived Cat Noir. Silly kitty. She smiled for the first time and lightly brushed her lips against his. I have loved you since you gave me the umbrella. But I thought you didn't see me that way. That we were just friends. I'm the one you were in love with as Ladybug? Yes. She let out a light chuckle that filled his soul with so much love. Adrien couldn't contain himself and leaned in and kissed her and finally felt the love return to him. There was no doubt that she loved him. After all this time, how blind and foolish they were. Then, tell me this. Why visit me as Chat? Set up these movie nights? She peered up at him with a questioning gaze. He felt his cheeks blush. I wanted to get to know you better. I hadn't expected we would. Fall in love? She teased. Exactly. He laughed. In school, as Adrien, you acted differently. Because I was in love with you and struggled to... I was a mess. She laughed, thinking back on how she behaved. But with Chat, you acted differently, and I liked that side of you and saw it blossom in school too. That's when my feelings changed to love. He stroked his fingers across the middle of her back. I never thought. I acted differently with Chat because you're my partner? That I already felt comfortable hanging out with you? Yeah, how strange and amazing all at once. We already loved each other in different ways and too blind to see it. He couldn't and didn't want to hide the largest grin on his face. It took me to fall in love with my kitty. That wasn't all about impressing me, but being himself. She rolled her lips between her teeth as she ran her fingers through his hair. It took me to fall in love with the beautiful, confident princess, the lady behind the mask, for us to finally be together. He breathed into her shoulder as he held her tight in his arms. I love you, Adrian, my kitty. I love you, Marinette, my princess, my lady. This felt right. This felt like it was fated amongst the stars. She was his past, present, and future. That even when they are old and have children and grandchildren, they would still be embraced in each other's arms. Thank you for listening to Tell Me You Don't Love Me, this special one shot to say a massive thank you for all the subscribers and support and love. It means the world to me, and if you keep subscribing, then I'll do another special for 200. I know we can do it. Okay, so make sure you smash that like button, subscribe, and comment down below what you think of the one shot. Okay, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.